What's going on, everyone? It's Steven Laggy Gamer, and I'm here to do a game discussion. I know it's been a while since I did a discussion on a video, on a game, but I've been playing a bunch of stuff and just not been able to finish them. But I've actually finished something today, and I finished it in one sitting, and it was a bittersweet day because today I had to say goodbye to one of the magnificent universes that we ever got a chance to be a part of in gaming history, and that is the BioShock universe. And I'm talking today about the BioShock Infinite Barrel at Sea Episode 2 DLC that came out today. And it was just a bittersweet ending because it's a franchise that I love. One of my favorites, if not my favorite franchise ever. It's just that world of Rapture, especially Rapture, and now Columbia. There's something about it. The storytelling that Ken Levine did, and it was just perfect. And I know Infinite, last year when it first came out, it was a game that received high praise. For me, myself, I think it was still number 2 on my list last year for Game of the Year. But as the year moved throughout, I think a lot of the critics, especially when the awards started coming out for Game of the Year and stuff, they kind of started to hate on it a little bit. From what they praised about it before, they started kind of knocking it for later on in the year. And that was the story and its convolutedness, so to speak, and how just it could get confusing, especially with what Columbia and BioShock Infinite introduced. But I'm proud to say that Barrel at Sea, after Barrel at Sea Episode 1 kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, which I never got to talk about that game with you guys. With the ending of that game, you've had to play it to understand it, but I didn't understand why the ending that happened had to happen. And that won't make sense unless you've played it, or I just have to talk to you about it. Maybe if we do a full-on another BioShock just series review, since it could be done with. We'll see what 2K does with the series, but without Ken Levine, who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, this one's about Barrel at Sea Episode 2 and just how it did a great job of really capturing everything and just bringing it all together. I want to do this without doing any spoilers. I'm going to try my best to. Shouldn't be any in here. I won't go too much into the story, but I will give my thoughts on how just everything came around. But just let me get the first and foremost out the way, because I'm going to save kind of some story stuff for the end. But basically the game Barrel at Sea follows Elizabeth this time. You're in her shoes, walking around from her perspective, basically just around Rapture and maybe some other areas. And your whole thing you're there for is, once again, this girl Sally from the end of the first Barrel at Sea. You start off just you're trying to get her back. You want her. So you're going after Sally. And that's pretty much all I have to say toward that. Because you run into some characters, which you saw at the end of Episode 1, Atlas. You're kind of doing some stuff with him during the story, and it just rolls along from there. And that's kind of all I want to say about it, because you really got to play it yourself. You know how it is with the stories of these games. You don't want anyone spoiling it for you. But one of the big changes they did this time around was with the gameplay. And with Elizabeth, they're making her seem more vulnerable. Because in this game, it's very highly reliable on stealth. Now, you don't have to play super stealthy through the game, but it's there for you. You can actually go through the whole game without killing anybody. And that's how I played through it. I never even fired a gun. You can get guns and weapons in the game, but that's not really how they wanted you to play it, I don't think. They really based this on a stealth approach. Like I said, they made Elizabeth seem vulnerable. Not weak, so to say, but they didn't show her to be this like art of war like I guess Booker was, just shooting and blasting everything away in Infinite. It showed Elizabeth being more reserved, not wanting to take life. I guess she didn't have to. But if you got in a situation where you needed to, you could resort to that. And I really liked the spin it put on it, because it really brought so much more atmosphere to the game when you're just sitting there and you're worried about if you walk over top of this glass and make a noise, it's going to alert the enemies around you, and they're going to start looking for you. Little touches like that, walking through water, just walking too loudly will attract enemies to you. And it was a really nice touch to slow everything down, which I think is something BioShock Infinite everything was kind of moving a little fast. And when you're moving fast through that game, you miss a lot of things. You could walk past that poster that could be like a big sign in the game and you just missed it, or give something away, or give you a hint to something. But in the Burial at Sea Episode 2 DLC, you're really taking your time as you're making your way through all these areas. And that's a good thing, because it's making you want to explore, making you want to find the voxophones and stuff, the just the audio logs, and it's really making you want to soak in the world around you and soak in Rapture. So I really enjoyed that approach to the game. Elizabeth can now crawl in vents and use that to travel to try to get a head up on somebody. And her main weapon is a crossbow that you can just equip with tranquilizer darts, poison darts that kind of just, it's like a gas cloud, put people to sleep. And she also has her hands on some plasmids that are some new ones we've never seen incorporated in the game before. One that pretty much makes you invisible. Another one that, of course, Winter Blast has been in stuff before. Another one that absorbs bullets. I'm not sure if Ironside, I've never really heard of that one before. And of course, Possession. It seems to be in every BioShock one, but it's a great one. And so she has this source of plasmids, and you can upgrade those. Of course, there's the vending machines and everything throughout the worlds that you can use to supply yourself. With the first BioShock Infinite, and even in the DLC for Episode 1, you use lockpicks to unlock doors and such. But in this one, Episode 2, you can actually buy lockpicks from the vending machine. So you're never on a shortage of lockpicks if you want them. You actually get rewarded through lockpicking. It's not difficult, but there's a system intact for you to unlock an item if you do the lockpick successfully or not. And just little fine touches like that really were some cool things in the game. And just using Elizabeth, how she pretty much, through the dialogue, she really carried the first two games. You're really looking forward to stuff that she said, and how she conversed with Booker. That was the highlight moments of the game. And playing as her and seeing her get the main stage, even though she probably was already main stage in BioShock Infinite in the Episode 1 DLC, it was nice just walking with her, hearing her speak about stuff around her and her thoughts. It was really cool just playing from her perspective. And in that stealth way, it was just really nice. A really good change of pace that the series needed. As far as visually, I think it looks great. There was a part where in the beginning where I'm walking past this couple and they're holding a child. It's supposed to look like a baby. It didn't really look like a baby. But that's just a little nitpicky stuff. I don't care about things like that because I thought the game looked great. Of course, it probably looks amazing on PC as BioShock Infinite did and everything. But I thought it looked great for a 360. I had no hiccups or anything like that. Just hiccups with having to do 2 downloads for it, which was kind of dumb. But other than that, I just thought it looked great. Of course, the music is still, it's weird when you go back to these games after you haven't touched them in a while, and you hear some of the music key up that you remember from the first time around playing Infinite. It just brings back such great memories, and just the soft loading screen music when you're getting into the game and stuff just brought back some good memories of playing through Infinite the first time. And you know what? It still carries some great stuff with it in this one as far as the music. Elizabeth, Courtney Draper does another song that she sings in it. She's got an amazing voice. She sang really good in it. You get to see some highlights of that in the end credits and stuff. But she was just a fantastic voice actor for Elizabeth and did a great job. All the other voice actors, although there aren't many, they did fine. I thought it was awesome. And audio logs are also, they always have that special touch to the game. They really tell most of the story for the game throughout the series. But just to bring it all back around, talked about graphics, short thing on the story, but just how this game, you go through this series with a lot of unanswered questions in BioShock Infinite. It introduced a multiverse, and if you haven't played BioShock Infinite right now, I'm sorry if I when you get to the end and it shows the expanse that the BioShock universe takes, it's just insane. And you can come away being really confused and just not understanding anything unless you sit down and think about it, and it kind of starts to click and make sense. But after playing Infinite, a lot of people are like, wow, does this discredit the first game or the first two? Because the first one is still my favorite game out of the whole series. But did Infinite kind of take away something from that? Did it discredit everything it did? If BioShock Infinite is the way it is, then did the first game even matter? This add-on, the Barrel at Sea Episode 2, made everything matter. It actually makes it all matter. It brings everything where it's supposed to be, full circle in place, and I thought it did a fantastic job. I was talking to Dustin on the chat. I didn't know if I haven't read many interviews about Ken Levine and the BioShock series, and if he had pre-planned this to go 3 games, if he had planned Infinite to be the way it was. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe he has said. But if he didn't, he did an amazing job just being able to do what he did for this Barrel at Sea Episode 2 and Infinite, to bring all the questions people had. There's still some unanswered questions, but to just bring questions that people had, needed answers to. He did a great job of bringing it all together. And even if he did plan it, then kudos to him for being able to think ahead like that. I just don't see how you could plan something like that from how the first game, if you still took it away and did a standalone BioShock 1, it's all on its own, it's pitch fine, it's perfect. That's all it needs to be. But how he was able to still let it keep its meaning, that's what meant a lot to me. It let BioShock 1 keep its meaning without making it seem like a throwaway game now, which is fantastic. I won't say how many of that happened. You got to play through this DLC to find out. But I was really excited for it. Did it live up to the hype for me? Yes, because it did. It closed the book while bringing stuff just all together. And it's kind of sad thinking about it because, yes, the book is kind of closed now on that whole, on will the circle be unbroken? It really does answer the question. Will you find out if it's unbroken? Who breaks it? Well, you got to play the stuff and find out. But I think you will have an answer by the end of episode 2. And like I said, just a bittersweet ending because it was just a series I love so much. Characters that you grow to love in Elizabeth. And this could be the end of that. Well, like I said, we'll see where 2K takes the series from here. If you saw the end of Infinite, you know what could happen. So who knows? Possibilities are literally infinite. So we shall see. But if this is a door on this chapter for BioShock, I'm happy. It ended fine for me. I will still hold the series in high regard. It's just a fantastic game that, if you haven't got into it yet, we're so glad that our buddy Chance was able to sit back and enjoy the first one. Can't wait till he dives into the next 2, and Infinite blows his mind. So looking forward to hearing his thoughts on that. But as far as this, it just really is a good. It was a good goodbye for the series. Like I said, still some unanswered questions that I'm going to have to bounce stuff off Dustin. I'm waiting for the forums to light up with other answers, what people are thinking. But still some stuff that I'm curious about. But I think they did a great job in just bringing it all together. So if you haven't played through it yet, I highly recommend you go play through the BioShock Infinite Barrel at Sea Episode 1, Episode 2. It'd probably be best to just play them both through back-to-backs. Like I said, the first one's not that long, and the ending kind of left like, this isn't making sense. Why did all this just happen? And you had to wait a few months for people like me to find out, oh, okay, now it kind of makes sense why that happened. But yeah, it was just fantastic. So if you're a fan of BioShock, there's no question you need to get it. And there are some people who kind of didn't like how it kind of ended, but if you paid attention from kind of the get-go, well, not really the get-go, but how things are starting to shape up, you knew what was kind of going to have to happen. But that's all I'll kind of say. But again, if you haven't played it, go out and get it. If you had the season pass, and you should already be playing it. So that's it for this one. The next discussion I'm going to try to do is I'm probably going to try to do a Dark Souls 1 discussion because I never did that. And I just finished the Prepare to Die edition last week. After that was my second time playing through it. So I'll probably do that. Playing through Dark Souls 2, we'll try to get a discussion out for that one. And I actually want to do some collection videos, since I started packing my stuff away over there. I figured I should probably show some stuff off. And I'll show you like some collections. I really like my PSP collection, so maybe look forward to a PSP collection video because that's something I can do. Also, we'll be sure to go check out the fan page for another gaming podcast. We just did our game night for Street Fighter. The video for that should be up tomorrow within this week. It's already done and put together. I just got to go through the upload process. It's a long video, so it's going to take a while. So, I guess that's about it. So, yeah, go to the fan page and like that so you can be a part of the next event. And, yeah, BioShock. It's just so much on your head. I just want to just keep thinking and talking in front of the camera, but it's just so much to take in because it's such a big series and such a big thing. So without me rambling on, that's enough of this one and me shaking the table on the camera like a gamer, lighting up.